I'm trying to think of big stories like you where they had a kid
yeah.
and they passed it down to their kid, but
yeah.
it wasn't as big. But it's like
Yeah.
You just described a 10-year story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of an evolution.
that's true.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're making people every day by your job.
That's correct.
That's true.
Yeah, you look at it as a job, but you are changing people's lives, man. Like getting a job at TTC, like I don't care what people say about it, but you're changing that person's life.
Definitely.
And then you're training them and they're coming and saying, how's it?
Yeah.
And you're teaching them how it works.
Yeah.
And break it down so they understand.
That's that full circle right there in your own life, and you didn't even see
That's
it.
beautiful, bro.
You didn't even see it, bro.
Thank you. Yeah.
You didn't even see it, but I mean, yeah. So let's start it. So, welcome to Dixon Legacy. We're here again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
DJ Chosen One. So if you haven't seen him, you better check it out. Go on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
So it's I am DJ Chosen One at Instagram. I am DJ Chosen One. YouTube, Mixcloud. So yeah. And even also Coach Chris.
That's right. That's very big too. So one of the things that we're doing is Dream Athletic Academy, and you know, we are talking about mentorship and how important mentorship and legacy is. And with Dream Athletic Academy, it's you can check that out on YouTube as well. Dream Athletic Academy 2024. It's on YouTube as well. So there's 4 of us, and we're sort of building this program. So under 14, now under 15, because we're 1 year in.
Advanced, yeah.
And it's basketball, but for me, it's life and basketball.
Yes.
So we are sort of training life and training basketball, just from intuition, knowledge, experience, that sort of stuff. Working with the parents and kids, right, in knowing the game, not just running out playing the game, but knowing the game. And knowing life,
and
right?
life.
So so once again, that transition of mentorship, right? So now you have, 12, 15 kids, 20 kids. I think we had 22 kids out at one point. Boys, girls, anybody who wants to come and learn. Key pieces. So we're talking about mentorship, and we're talking about legacy, right? So from a perspective of mentorship and legacy, give me some of your experiences that that you can talk about, right? So for me, the biggest piece that I can sort of put my finger on is my son's friend, right?
Yes.
Which I talked about before with Taiwo. And it's like, I took him in at 8 years old, being a single dad, just trying to figure it out, right? Teaching him the same thing I taught my son, based off of the stuff I was taught from my dad, right? Aquila Dixon, shout out.
Yes, big up Aquila.
Yes.
Big name too.
Yeah, big name. That's a Bible name, right? And he only had 2 names, just Aquila Dixon. He had no middle name, right? So, big man, 6'4", big guy, and Jamaican parent, you know what comes along with Jamaican parents, but he that's right, that's right. Yeah. But for us, it's just normal, right? Normal, yeah. But the stuff he did, and I don't think that when you're doing your things, you think of legacy, or you think of I'm preparing you for life, or maybe it's in the back of your head, but you're just doing the day-to-day stuff that you think is right, and that you think is going to help this young person become successful later on. Right, that's all you're thinking. And you're just thinking, I'm moving through life and I'm doing my thing. But you're not thinking that this is changing generations.
Absolutely.
It's changing generations, right? Because if you think of my dad and what he was doing with us, right? Now I have kids. There's 5 of us, right? 4 of us have kids, right? And we're instilling that same stuff that my dad instilled in us to them. And then they're going to have kids, right? A few of them do have kids already, right? And now that's the generational change, right? So this is the drop in the water that coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't think we put enough, and maybe we just don't know because we just do what we do, but I don't think we put enough importance on that, because the next generation is not even, if you think 3 generations from now, maybe even 4, they're not even going to know your name.
Yeah.
And you're going to be dead and buried for 100 years.
True.
and they're there because of you,
That's crazy. Man,
right?
you're blowing my
but
mind
but
right now.
we don't think about that stuff. But I think if we think about that stuff more, we'll be more impeccable with our words. We'll
True.
be more impeccable with our actions, because we
Yes.
know
More
that a lot
intentional.
of times they're not going to listen to you. They're just going to do what they see you doing, and they're going to follow you. They may not tell you, but they will do what you're doing, not what you're saying, right?
Got you. Got
So if
you.
you just be constant with it, then you are changing generations. And I think that's going to be my new word, changing generations,
That's
right?
huge, man.
And I think if we all understand that that's what we're doing, even if we're disciplining our kids, even if we're sort of providing advice to our kids, even if providing advice to other children who are not ours, we are changing generations. Because if they kind of listen to what we do and they're successful, then we've done what we're
Sowed
supposed
the
to do.
seed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge, man. I
Yeah.
don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah.
But can I want to start back where the mentorship started from you
Okay.
and started that way, because I'm just gonna be plain and simple. Like, my mentorship definitely started from you. You think that you're not contributing a lot because you say, like you said, you're working it day by day by day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to rewind the story. I don't remember if I ever told this story either on the Dream podcast or
Okay.
this podcast,
Yeah.
but meeting you was the beginning of the mentorship between me and you. I was in a lost place in terms of my homework. I just started TTC, and you were doing your thing with your family. I was doing my thing with my family. My wife just said, "Hey, this homework is difficult for you to go figure out. Go look at that guy." And you were wearing the TTC,
Yeah. The Barney colors.
the
The
TTC purple at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, man, that guy's doing his thing. I'm not gonna bug him while he's on his
Yeah.
family time. And you took the time to do it. So obviously, to me, like, plus the stories you've been telling me, plus the time I've spent with you now, that is who you are. But at that time, I didn't know, so I asked you a couple questions. Boom, bang, bing. I finished the homework. So the mentorship started from me, which now I'm hearing started from your dad,
Yes. Yeah.
came to you, came to me, and now I'm an instructor, which you were my boss, and you were an instructor too, and I got to instruct others day by day to change their life.
Yeah.
You helped change my life, and now I get to help change their life. I have 2 children, and the mentorship goes from your dad to you to me to my children. And
Wow.
I'm a grand dog dad now.
Right.
My daughter has a dog now, so I'm a grand doggy dad. But, maybe one day when they have children, whatever, and I get to bestow that information on them too as well. So the information, the tutelage, the dedication, the consistency, all that kind of stuff just gets poured down from generation to generation, like you said. The key thing, though, is if we take it.
Yes.
I think we can. In the word, it says that if you can toss the seed onto a stone, it won't go anywhere. But if it hits the soil, that's when it will grow. So it's very important that we remember that we have to sow the seed. We have to sow the seed.
Yeah.
God's going to make sure that it hits the soil.
Yeah.
Remember? So it's not us to change the people. That's why I love how you are. You give to everyone who comes to you.
Doesn't matter, man. Yeah.
And if they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't. But we have to remember that person has to take it in. They got to water it now.
Yes. Yeah.
And they got to apply the wisdom. Wisdom is the knowledge being applied, right? So we could have a whole bunch of knowledge. I know a whole bunch of knowledge on how to be a millionaire, but I don't necessarily apply it.
Correct. Yeah.
So we got the person has also take that information, take that knowledge, and apply it, and that becomes the wisdom. So I'm glad I got to apply the wisdom your dad bestowed to you, and you bestowed to me, and my son.
Yeah,
I've
yes,
bestowed it to him.
Yeah.
And even this Thanksgiving, we were going through a tough time. Through the Thanksgiving today, I'm not even going to lie.
Okay.
Today we had a conversation, and I can see the growth that he had taken
Yeah.
within the last couple of weeks since Thanksgiving to now.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the mentorship, the tutelage is definitely important throughout generations, as long as they take it.
Yes, no, absolutely, absolutely, and I think it's even like it's even weird when you say from my dad to me to you,
Yeah, definitely.
right?
I bet you
Because
didn't think of that.
I never thought of it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Never thought of it that way, right? And now just by verbalizing it, you're like, wow, that's powerful.
Yeah,
That's powerful, man.
definitely.
That's
So it's
powerful.
actually
Yeah.
from your dad to my son,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
so
again, we have to remember the people that take it, because we also, the two of us in our basketball academy, bestow wisdom on, and some take it
yes,
and some do
that's
not.
correct. Yes, that's correct, and we're seeing that
Yeah.
real time right now. Yeah.
So thank God for the ones that take it, and they will learn eventually.
Yeah.
And I always say this thing like, you're gonna pay the price. You're gonna pay the price. I think you taught me this as well. You're gonna pay the price. You're either gonna pay it now, or you're gonna pay it later.
That's right.
And later is much more expensive.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I always say there's two things you're going to say. So there's a couple of things I say. So one thing is I say that when you make a mistake, and whether it's a like you did it intentionally or it just kind of falls upon you, but when you get a setback in life, it usually takes you 10 years to correct.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
It usually takes you about 10 years to correct. So you think about whatever it is, whether you have a child, whether you make a mistake, you end up in jail, like anything like that. You get in trouble, like your credit, anything like that.
Okay.
When you mess it up, it's about 7 to 10 years for you to correct that.
Okay.
Right? And check it out, right? Like just do your own, sort
Research.
of check, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the key is to use the individuals who are guiding you so you don't fall in those mistakes.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
Right? So that's why the
Yes.
key is to listen. Right?
Yes.
And no matter what you're going through, as long as because for some people they don't have that tutelage, so they only know, hey, I'm trying to figure this out on my own. I'm trying to do this, so here's the direction I'm going to take, and then it leads you to wherever it leads you,
Yep.
right? But if you have that tutelage that sort of tells you,
They already
okay,
made
why
the
don't you try
mistake.
this? So at least you can say, okay, so at first I only had the one direction, but now I have 2 or 3 directions based off of what this person told me, right? So now I can choose now versus only having the one direction. Now I have 2 or 3 that I can choose because somebody just told me, hey, buddy, why don't you try this?
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Why
Something
would I
that
learn
simple.
something the hard way if you already did it?
Because
If you
don't
already
know,
did the
you don't-
hard way.
But you don't know it's the hard way.
Yeah, you're a fool.
You
I
don't
call
know
that
it-
a fool.
Yeah, but as a child coming up, when you think of a young person, they don't know any
You don't
different.
need to do drugs to know that you'll get hooked and addicted. And
Maybe
I
not.
already did that.
Maybe not, right?
I get what
had
you're
to-
saying.
You had to find out for yourself.
Do I though? That's
did.
serious.
You had to find out for yourself.
I never took any hard drugs because I could see in the street what
Yeah.
happened, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand what you're saying with
Yeah.
different. It depends on the degree of your stubbornness.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That's correct.
100%.
Right? So
That's
some
why I
people
say
have to
you-
find out for themselves.
Yeah, you gotta take heed on it.
Yes, you do. So it's and you're a product of your environment. So
Yes.
and this is why I said fathers.
Yes.
It's so important that you're in your child's life, and it doesn't matter how minute or big, but it's important that you're a part of your child's life because you're a part of your environment. So your environment is going to shape who you are. And if you have, all you need is that voice, right? Because that voice of reason, that voice of stability, that voice of consistency will always hold firm,
stick. It
right?
will,
And whether you follow it or not, it's there,
Yeah.
right? But if you don't have the consistency, then none of that stuff is there. So you just kind of flow with the wind.
True.
Right? So that's why I think
Definitely.
it's so important that you're there in your child's life and you're that beacon of consistency, right? And no matter what you kind of went through, if you can sort of take those challenges and then convert that into, okay, I'm going to tell you, here's what I did that led to this, it's going to lead you to a hole, so don't go that direction.
Don't do it.
Right?
Yeah.
I was telling one of the boys, I was like, if you have a dog and it's your favorite dog, you love this dog in the world, and that dog is running towards the traffic,
road.
and the traffic
Yeah.
is going back and forth, and he's beelining towards the road, what are you going to do? So the first thing you're going to do is say, hey, dog, come back, right? And then the dog doesn't listen. So what's the next thing you're going to do? Now your voice is probably going to raise a little bit to say, hey, dog, come back, right? Dog's still not listening. Then what's the next thing you're going to do? You're going to run, and you're going to grab that dog by the scruff, and you're going to pull him back because you know he's going to danger even though he doesn't know it. That's what parents do all the time.
Yes.
They talk to you, you don't listen. They raise their voice, you don't listen. Depending on the parents you have, you may get the belt.
A little
They
physical.
don't, and that's you grabbing the scruff and pulling them back,
Yep.
right? And then ultimately, you have to let them go and drop in the hole,
That's right.
or run into the traffic and
Eventually,
get licked by the
yep.
car.
Eventually.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's why it's important. The key pieces. There's two pieces that needs to be there. One, you need to have the mentor that will give you that guidance, and a lot of people don't have that. And the second piece, you need to
consistency.
take the guidance and listen,
Yep.
right, and apply it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And lucky for me, I had you, and I had one other, well, I call him Uncle Courtney. He's my mentor in life and basketball as well. And it's so weird now that you mention it, like life and basketball, and now we teach life and basketball.
Yes.
It's just it's so awesome how things come together. But you got to take heed. You got to take heed. You got to listen, because 10 years or longer to try to figure it out, to get back out of that hole is too much time wasted.
So who's Courtney? You got to tell me
Uncle
a little
Courtney,
bit more.
Courtney Williams.
Okay.
The Williams brothers, back in the day, were football and basketball phenoms. I think out of Waterloo or something. I don't remember, far away. But they're married to Simeon Mars. Their wife is married to Simeon Mars, like through sisters and stuff like that. Which is Eastern Commerce and big time back in the day for Eastern Commerce and basketball and stuff in Toronto. So he kind of took me under his wing. At that time, I was playing like baseball. But when he introduced me to basketball, it was game over.
Yeah,
Basketball became life. And
so you're like Jordan. You're like Jordan.
yeah, exactly like that. Exactly like Jordan. Yeah, right. So he kind of took me under his wing, and I learned life. I learned, I moved out from my mom's house, and I started to live with him for the summers and stuff like that. And he showed me you got to work hard to provide for your family and provide for yourself. And I became a mover and all kinds of stuff. Man, he showed me a lot of stuff. But he always told me, like, he showed me in real life, like, we were around, I won't say bad guys, but guys that took the wrong path.
Yes, yeah.
And he showed me, like, I've been to prisons to visit people that got locked up. And sometimes I would go see a bag. A bag would be in the gym. And I'd go in the bag to go get a basketball, and there's a gun there or some drugs in there. And like, he hung around guys like this, but when it came to basketball, it was basketball, and it was around me. But I stuck to basketball to stay clean. And because one day I went to one of their houses just after they got raided, and they took everything. I remember they took everything, and he told me, he said, you could be in that life if you want, but when they come and raid you, they take everything. They don't pick and choose what you worked for.
Yes,
they believe everything was got possessed by the drug money. So they'll take everything. And not only that, like when you're driving on the road, every time you hear or whoop, whoop, you think they're after you. Like, and I can't live like that. So he taught me to live clean. Pay your insurance, pay your license plate sticker, pay your car note, pay the thing. So when they hear you don't have to worry. You don't have to look and hide and see who's after you, because when you live on that life, you're always looking behind you to see who's going to come get you. So very simple man, very good man. And so between you and him, I think I did all right.
Yes, yeah. No, it's true. It's true that when you say
did
that
all right.
because even when we talk to the kids, one of the things I say is there's 3 things you need to keep clean in Canada, and you can be successful: your license, your credit,
Absolutely.
and your criminal record.
Oh man,
If you keep those 3 things clean, you're good to
you're
go.
good, man.
You're good to go. The sky's the limit here.
For sure.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
So sometimes life can be simple, but it's hard when you're going through the steps and the peer pressure and the different things, and especially with social media and all this stuff. Like you always think that, well, these guys are living a better life and all this kind of stuff because you see the smiles and the clicks and the money and the cars and whatever. But then you don't see the work that they put in the background. I think somebody coined that phrase, like people are jealous of the life, but they're not jealous of the work that you put in, right? I forget who
So
made that
deep.
quote, but somebody did, right?
That's deep,
And it's big, like with Instagram, especially with the young kids, because that's all they see, and then they're like, well, how come my life's not like that, right? And we were having a discussion earlier, like half of the people, or more than half of the people in the music industry are broke.
Yep.
So you see them with the chains and stuff, but it's all borrowed, right? And then they're sleeping on their friend's floor. You know what I mean? And so that's the part you don't see on social media,
That's right.
right? So you
And
think
who's
it's
showing them the actual truth?
yeah.
That's what's scary.
Nobody except the one-on-one individuals who truly care about the person or who are truly doing this just because they do it, not because there's an alternative motive or they're expecting anything back from you or anything like that. Like I remember one time I met with my son's friend and we were at a gas station and it just happenstance where we kind of met at the gas station at the same time,
Crazy.
right? So he paid for his gas and then I was going to go pay for mine. And of course we're catching up as we're in line, right? And he's like, I'm going to pay for your gas. Right?
Wicked,
And I was like,
man.
buddy, you got 2 kids you're a young kid, you're doing your thing. I'll pay for my own gas. He's like, listen, Andrew, he's like, this would be a pleasure and an honor for me to pay for your gas for all the stuff you
That's a
did for
good
me.
kid, man.
Right? Yeah. Like I rate this kid, man, because, and I was like, I have to take a video of this and then send it to my son to let him know you're paying for my gas, right? But it's like, all I want you to do is bestow on your kids a little bit of what I taught you. That's all I want you to do,
That's it.
right? And but it was such a pleasure just
That's
to know
amazing.
that here's a kid that hold you in such high regard, and you are just doing what you do, right? Like there's something about that. So for me, it's always a blessing to see when individuals come back to me and say, "Hey, Andrew, you know, you caused this for me."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You always talk about
Yeah.
this guy at TTC, how you trained him. I could say his name, but I don't know if I should. You trained
Yeah,
him.
just leave it at TTC.
Yeah. And you change his life. We know that when we instruct and we pass them and we give them the job because they earned the job, it changes their life, right? So you talk about this guy. I see him all the time. He raves about you every time.
Yeah.
He raves about you. Like, if you see Andrew, tell him,
Yes.
thank you, man. Thank you. You and him are the best.
Yes. He always said, "This is the best instructor. This is the best instructor." Yes, I'll never forget that because his wife, I forget how many kids he had, but his wife came up to me. We were at Dundas, and his wife came up and she just gave me this big hug, and she said, "You changed our family's life."
Wow.
Right? And I said, "No, I didn't." I said, "He did. He just listened to what I
Well
taught him to
said.
do." That's all he did, right? And that, like, when you get stuff like that happens to you, I think because at the time you're just doing what you do, right? But when that stuff happens to you, it really takes it to that other level to sort of say, this is big, because now his 5 or 6 kids, or however many kids he has, that's the ripple effect, right? So you just didn't change one person's life. You changed the wife plus the 5 kids, their lives. And now they're going to take that, and you hope that they're going to do that to their kids and then their kids, right?
Definitely.
So this is why I think this is so critical and important.
It is.
Like legacy, mentorship, like I think this is so critical and important. And just to get the message out, get people to hear it, tell the stories, right? Because a lot of people's stories are the same, and they're struggling through, and they're thinking it's only happening to me. And then you realize that, no, it's happened to a bunch of people. and these people has actually made it through and they're okay, right? So if they just know that, hey, if these people are okay, then I can be okay too. And if I take my story and I'm okay, and then I can sort of do that to generations, then I think we started a movement here. You know what I mean? Like the mentorship movement. I don't know what you want to call it, but you have a lot of stuff out there. But for me, it's just like I'm just doing my little part.
It's huge. And
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
you to
yeah.
know, like, if nobody tells you, I know you said you're starting to embrace that mentorship
Yeah,
thing now
yeah,
recently. It's huge. It's huge. And the fact that you did it for me, I've done it. And when I look back on it, I've done it for so many other people, how to help them get here or there.
Yeah.
It's huge. Speaking of movement, if you don't mind, I just want to shout out Peace. I went to the hip hop 51 year anniversary. For some reason, it's like in Oshawa.
Okay.
But I went anyways, and Peace is just some black dudes who are speakers. They go to schools, they go to different functions. One day I want them to speak for Dream.
Okay. Yeah.
And
So we got to set that up soon, man.
Yeah, Peace stands for people everywhere actually coexisting equally.
Nice.
So that's what this is, an acronym. So shout out to Peace and the fellas that are involved with that. We're gonna get you in soon to speak to our young cats.
Yeah.
We love what we are doing. But that's it. That's it, man. That was beautiful.
All right. So subscribe, like, share, comment.
I am DJ Chosen One
Yes.
on all the platforms. Appreciate your help. It's always a pleasure.
Peace. And another one. Sweet. What's that?